General Contractors, this is Kevin Sterling with the Topping Off podcast. In this episode, we are joined here today with Donny Zanger of Buildworks to talk about the general contracting community that he is fostering through his work. So welcome, Donny. We appreciate you being here.
Thank you. I enjoy being here.
Yeah, nice. So if you would, you have a long career in the construction industry, serial entrepreneur with multiple ventures, and I'm just wondering if you could kind of walk us through how you got started, what you learned along the way, and then sort of how that has brought us to where we are now.
Yeah, so I started out, I don't know if you want to call it construction, but in college I had a deck painting business. Wasn't, too complex. It was, power washing and painting decks. Um, I had all my friends working for me at some point. It was a lot of fun. We all had a lot of fun, and I made pretty good money for my age. Um, I remember just like thinking like, um, this is something I really want to do. It's just a little taste of it, but the idea of being independent, making your own schedule, and kind of providing your own path. So started out with a deck painting business called the Donnie's Decks, cliche. Um, Ran it for 2 summers. That was like before the internet kind of took off, before Google, I guess. I mean, I'm sure Google was around, but people still relied on traditional marketing. So I took an ad out in the JCC newspaper, got some work, got some word of mouth, and then handed out flyers in just towns, just in their mailbox and their doors. Got more work, then got a stencil and put up. I got a sign first. The sign blew away, and I figured that was a bad investment. So I got planks of wood and just stenciled my name and just covered the entire town with. They eventually called me and told me I had to take them down, but it was good marketing. For those 2 summers, I had a blast. So I knew I wanted to work for myself. I just didn't know how. After college, I was just floundering, as I'm sure a lot of people find themselves, going from one job to another and not really finding what they wanted to do and how to make their own path, if they want to make their own path, if they want to, have it, their own business. I was putting up a temporary wall in my apartment because rent was cheaper with a temporary wall. And I met the person who was putting up the wall. Um, and I just started talking to him. I'm like, oh, he hated his boss. His boss was also like buying Lamborghinis. And I'll tell you one thing, from owning a wall company, you can't afford a Lamborghini and like mansions and stuff. He eventually went out of business, I think, because he bought too much crap. I told him, I'm starting this. Let's start a business, So I bought him a hat, gave him $100, and I said, I'm going to start a wall business. So that was my first business, All Week Walls. It still exists today. We have 3 domains that we rank on Google: Walls, Pressurized Walls NYC, and Temporary Walls NYC. I learned a lot about kind of exact match domains, and if you read up on SEO, a big guru who I follow, SEO Jesus, is big on that too. Some people say it doesn't work. It's not true. It still works very well. So for anyone thinking about a company name, exact match domains are very effective. I also own plumbingnyc.com, which is also kind of like a tech play along with BuildWorks. So anyway, how I got into BuildWorks, I started a few small tech projects, but we won't go into that because it's not really relevant here. But I started BuildWorks out of a need to just try to make some more money. Before BuildWorks, I had just one website, Plumbing NYC, because the wall company during COVID was slowing down, and I realized I need to make more money. because it was really slow. I just said, there's got to be money in plumbing. So I'm not a plumber. The wall business I own. I mean, like I own the whole operation from the insurance to the employees and all that. But the plumbing business was a little bit different. I'm not a plumber. It's a little bit more dicey. So I just really partner with plumbers and give the leads to them. We actually are get more traffic than any other plumbing company in New York City, Plumbing NYC. Yeah, so in 3 or 4 years, we're the top producer of leads on the internet of plumbing leads. If you search Plumbing NYC, we're one. Plumber NYC. So I guess that was a testament to just doing my job right a little bit. If I was a plumber, I'd make a lot more money with this, but since I'm not a plumber, it brings in steady revenue. I Most of my businesses I really don't spend that much time on. Um, I delegate a lot of my work. I think that's something that um, is my secret sauce for good or bad. I'm very hands on, but um, I give someone a job and I expect them to do the job right. Um, and then, however, whether it's a worker working on a job or a contractor that I subcontract out to, I'm kind of I let them do their thing, and I try not to micromanage too much. So BuildWorks, which I guess Plumbing NYC is now part of BuildWorks too, but it's kind of a separate category because BuildWorks is really just general contracting, and Plumbing NYC was just a niche within New York. Um, but what BuildWorks is we rank websites um, like General Contractor NYC in New York. If you search General Contractor NYC, we're in the top map section. If you search Dallas General Contractor, we're in the top map section. Los Angeles, Chicago, those are the places we're in right now. And what we really did is just figured out in the beginning it wasn't really supposed to work. I didn't tell anyone about it for the first like year or two. Um, and as I slowly got it working and fine tuning it and realizing who to hire and where to, you know, manage my time, um, I started creating a network throughout the country that I was, the places that I was in with great general contractors. I vetted them, highly asked them a lot of questions, referrals, and you know something that anyone that would hire someone to do uh, would do. Where things like Angie's leads and stuff, they're just trying to produce. I mean, for me, I just wanted to make an extra income and produce like a good company. Um, Things like Angie's List, Yelp, we're going after just the dollar signs and didn't really care about the end user. Um, so I focused really on the end user and a better experience for them and to get good contracting work so their projects don't go sideways. Um, so I, yeah, so that's a little bit about it. And basically, I find the contractors, give them the work from the leads that I get, and I take a percentage of the project. That's how it works.
Nice. And how much involvement do you have with the end client? Are you managing the construction or?
No, I leave it. Like I said, I'm not a big micromanager. I leave it up to the contractor. The contract is between the contractor and the client. The contractor then pays me, and you're wondering why the contractor pays me. It's like if you don't pay me, I don't give you any more leads. that's why people didn't think it was going to work out. But all my contractors, to be honest, not one of them stiffed me. They're happy with the leads that they get. They're good leads. They're from Google. They're not Yelp leads. They're not Angie's List leads. Um, they're very strong leads. Sometimes people will only call me from my reviews, and not any other contractors. And I'm also a good salesman, so I prepare the sale by once the phone rings, half if it's a contractor advertising on himself, half the time he's not picking up the phone anyway, right? So, you know, so they leave a message, they call them back. I'm always answering the phone. I'm always attending to, the client's needs, and kind of that's how I kind of run it.
Yeah, and you are finding contracts both residential and commercial in the cities, is that right?
In these cities, yeah. We've we've done mostly residential. I mean, some commercial. We had a hotel that was interested in our work in Chicago. Um, the job was to insulate this whole building, like 200 rooms. It was going to be our biggest contract yet, um, but they've been a little shady with us. I don't know what happened. Maybe the budget ran out. Unclear. So we focus on both, but not that we can't do commercial. But what we're seeing is more residential.
And what was the selection process like? Did you started in NYC and then you moved out from
I
there? And
started in
like,
Chicago and NYC. Those were my two pilot
okay,
locations to see if it would work.
yeah, got it. And I know sort of going back to plumbing NYC and just in general, some people view New York City and the top markets in the US as kind of being like untouchable from an SEO standpoint, but you've kind of bucked that ideology. Anything you want to share about, kind of how you accomplish that?
Well, I read a lot about SEO, right? So um, that was like my specialty of, I guess I never had like a specialty that some people are in real estate, some people are in whatever, yada yada. I mean, but my specialty was really SEO, like, because paid ads I never had good luck with. I tried, you know, I thought, oh, if I'd raise some money, I could, go and put out some Google AdWords. I mean, Google AdWords doesn't work. So, like, you only have one option, which is SEO, and it works. And the reason why I'm a little bit different than like Yelp and some of these other competitors is that I took out addresses and I got a Google My Business listing. I don't know how familiar you are with that, but that's the first thing that shows up is a Google My Business listing, right? So if you have reviews, good reviews, which I do have good reviews, sometimes I'll get a bad review, but it's not from a client usually. It's like, oh, this person like charged me too much. And it's like, we never did the job for you, So people see that. So they see that people that did the work gave good reviews, it's testament that we're doing a good job.
Yeah. And in terms of the projects that you take on at BuildWorks, are you finding like an ideal customer or scale of job, too little, too big?
I mean, if someone calls me for like a $500 job, I pass, like it's not enough meat on the bones for me really to entertain it. I usually tell most clients $5,000 and above. If I can make $500, well, then portion of my mortgage is paid.
Sure. Yeah. Yeah. What would you say, I guess in terms of like the competitive landscape, are there other services that are offering similar that you kind of like are competing against? Like who would you say is like,
There's a company, Sweetie. I know that are in some locations. They raised, something like $15 million. I started my company with $10,000. So, I mean, I've been cash flow positive like after a year. So, like, I'm not making what they're making. I don't know what they're making, but like, you know, when I tried raising money, it was like kind of not really a thing. And I've always bootstrapped all my companies. I just take, something from one business and then just move to the next and kind of like just kind of do it that way. There's Sweetie, there's House, um, but all these companies have flaws, right? The bigger you get, like the quality of work comes down. Like I'd rather, produce like a company that's doing $500,000 than and like know that like all my clients are super happy, stoked about like my work, than create some massive thing that no one really likes and that doesn't. I mean, yeah, I mean maybe I would like something bigger, but um, but I don't think people like Angie's List, right? I don't think you get like they send out, you go to a job and there's been seven other contractors there, right? So like, I mean, like it becomes like a cat and mouse game, right? So like it's not like, I don't know, like I guess they do well. I don't really know how. I wouldn't rely on that type of service. Like if I was looking for a contractor, I'd go, I would use my company, thank you, but I would go directly to the contractors that are listed on Google that are marketing themselves, and then I see their reviews as opposed to going to Angelie's List and then filtering through their system.
And so that's kind of an interesting point you bring up. We talk to a lot of contractors. Some of them are diehard referral only contractors. And you're saying here, like you're specifically looking for contractors that are already marketing themselves. Did I hear that right?
Say it again.
So a lot of contractors, like they don't do any marketing. They say like, oh, we run completely off of referrals.
Right.
But you kind of just indicated that like when you're looking to choose a contractor to work with, you're actively looking for a contractor that's already marketing. Is that right?
No,
Like
not they're
not.
not market. They're usually the contractors that I have are not online. Some of them don't even have. I mean,
Mm,
some have websites, but you know, um, they're not marketing themselves online. They're not. If you search general contractor NYC, I'm not going after any of those contractors. My
okay.
contractor has a website in New York City, but he's totally word of mouth. You know, he doesn't. Most contractors don't know how to market. I mean, it's a fact, right? They don't know. I mean, it's a very competitive. You're going up against. I'm going up against Yelp. I'm going up against Angie's List, right? Like my team in India of seven people is working 6 days a week to beat companies that have budgets of millions of dollars, and we're going to, So
Yeah, nice. That's great. Um, what have been some of the challenges that you've kind of faced so far?
scaling it to being larger, I guess. I mean, like it's hard to like capture like the broader market without having funding. Um, just bootstrapping things. But it's a good income. When you have other businesses. I've always found like if you kind of have like more than one thing going on, then when one thing's slow, you have something else that's kicking off other revenue. And that's always kind of like what I've done. And I'm focusing now on kind of like an estimation tool for contractors, um, which is I think will be my biggest project. So I've always just like taken one thing and just moved it into the other and just have things kind of all trying to like one if one thing's slow then rely on something else. So that's kind of like I guess I don't know if that answered your question.
Yeah, no, no, definitely. Across the cities that you're operating in, do you see trends in sort of like one variety of project versus another?
New York City is a lot of like condo remodels. People. We did an A-list celebrity just now. Can't say her name because we signed an NDA, but it was a penthouse. The amount of paperwork that we had to do for her was crazy. Um, but she's really happy, and like I guess that's just a testament of like what we're doing. Like she her her agent found us online, and um, like my partner who does New York City does a really good job of like presenting himself. And but yeah, I mean, like mostly in the cities, I mean, we get mostly like condo redos and stuff. And like I said, in Chicago, we had a hotel, which would have been really great, and I hope we still get it. Um, but I feel like stuff like big commercial stuff is like more word of mouth than going online. Um, in my experience, right? Like it's like, oh, like do you know the developer of, I don't know, the biggest developer in New York? And he might not be advertising online. He just know.
Mhm. Sure, sure. Yeah, a lot of arm's length dealing. Um, you've talked a lot about SEO, certainly, and kind of like going against Google Ads, pay per click. Is there any other kind of marketing that you guys employ that you feel like is
Yeah, we
noteworthy?
do organic, like Instagram and Facebook and TikTok. Um, I'm not spending tons of money. Most of the stuff is AI generated. Um, I don't get very many leads, but it's a presence. Like you want to be present everywhere. Um, I mean, I'm on Reddit all the time, like looking at like for my new business and for um, educating myself. Like I think staying on top of like trends and stuff is really important to be on Reddit. Um, and like paid ads are really hard to convert. Like like I don't know. It just seems like a never-ending like faucet that doesn't turn off. Um, and it really, I believe you really need to be funded to get on that type of Ferris wheel.
Yeah, I mean, I think a lot of what we see is just that people don't understand how long the sales cycle is on paid ads. So, like, you might get a lead and it might not become a job for 6 or 9 months, and it's
Right.
very tough to have the faith that that's going to float through, you know?
Right. Exactly. And people are just
And,
scrolling too. They'll click on your ad and you paid for it, and it's just really garbage.
yeah, yeah. Um, I guess what's kind of like your roadmap for BuildWorks? Like for the rest of 2026, you have new cities you want to launch into, or like any kind
I
of
mean,
changes to
my
the model?
roadmap really is to focus on this new project that I'm working on. It's a SaaS tool.
Hmm.
Not to say I'm not going to be in construction. Um, as just a person, I think you introduced me as an entrepreneur, and that's what I am. I'm not a contracting guy. I mean, I've been in contracting. My tool is related to contracting tool um, too, but like everything always gets passed down to the next sector. So like this will be run by someone else, and my objective is to say, okay, this is the company. It's BuildWorks. We're in LA, Chicago, Dallas, and New York City, four cities. Like this is what I did. Now go open it in every city, and this is how to do it. But like right now I'm focusing on something else. So like I'm not going to actively do that yet now, but it's going to be to pass it along to someone who's running it and open more cities. That's kind of like that's my ideal of what to do.
Yeah, no, that makes sense. Um, if a contractor is listening to this, do you, I guess, allow contractors to apply to work with you, or are you completely you?
We're pretty selective. I mean, some contractors I work with now, the one in LA, did contact me. He was sharp on the phone. I made an exception, and I was like, okay, well, I really don't have a great. The contract that I had already was like bidding crazy numbers, and I wasn't getting jobs. So I was like, I gotta get him, and he wasn't super like into it. So like I was like, let me give you a shot, and I really like him now. He's done a few jobs for me, made some money with him, um, trust him, like, and he's good. He's good. So never say never, right?
Sure,
I don't like
opportunity.
people cold calling me.
Now, do you, I guess, to document the jobs, do you have any requirement with the contractors to photograph finished product that you could then use in BuildWorks to like show the body of work that BuildWorks has produced, or do you not really do that?
Um, I mean, most of my content online is not pictures of our work.
Hmm.
We have pictures online of some of our work, um, but yeah, I mean, as I expand, I'd like to have hire like a photographer that goes around and takes pictures of our work. But I think that's like down the line um, as it expands. But right now we're still bootstrapped,
Yeah,
so we
yeah,
have limited resources.
yeah. Now, based on, I guess, like your experience with the contracting industry, if a contractor is listening to this and they are trying to grow their own business, what would you advise them to do?
Learn SEO.
Yeah, sure. Get the team in India, right?
Yeah, but not
Perfect.
everyone in India knows what they're doing. So
Yeah.
you gotta learn first, and then you know, um, it's like interviewing anyone. If you know a little bit of information, and then they can tell you like 10 steps ahead, then you know that that's the person to hire, right? It's like you always want the smartest person in the room to hire, and that's how I've always done everything I do. So
Yeah. Yeah. Um, and we call this a topping off podcast based on the tradition of topping off in a structure, when it sort of reaches the structural completion. Uh, do you have any sort of tradition that you like to capstone a project or like a launch or anything that you like to celebrate?
well, I don't drink. um, I don't have a bell in my office. um, no, I guess, and this may sound weird, but I guess like I'm very complimentary to my people that I work with. Um, when it's slow in the wall business, I'm paying my guys because they're only on get paid by the day. Um, if it's my contractor that I'm doing the new app for, I'm paying him. Um, be generous. Remember, everyone always has like bills to pay. Um, you might not be rich right now, but like those people that you take care of um, will take care of you back. If that makes any sense, but
No, sure.
might not.
Yeah, yeah, definitely. Yeah, gratitude and generosity. Well, awesome. Well, Donnie, appreciate this time. Where can people find you to connect to BuildWorks or any of your ventures?
You could just go to buildworks.com. My direct line is on there. My email is on there too, I believe. Um, if you're in any of those cities, New York, Dallas, Chicago, um, LA, we're there and we're doing great work. And you should come check us out. It's BuildWorks, BuildWRKS.com.
All right, terrific. So, Johnny, thank you again. So, for the Topping Off podcast, This is Kevin Sterling. If you like this, if you got some value, be sure to rate, like, and subscribe and share it with a friend. See you next time.